welcome to another FasTrax webinar. Our webinars are on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. To access webinars, you can go to our website at goftx.com. You can then go to the FTx Lifeline, click on it, and about halfway down, there's a webinar section. From here, you can view previous webinars, and if you scroll down to the bottom, you can register for upcoming webinars. Okay, in today's webinar, we're going to be going over purchasing in Warehouse. So we will open up Warehouse. We will browse over to the inventory module. We'll click on purchasing. Then we will go down and click on new. So if you remember, we've done a webinar on doing orders in Warehouse. Purchasing is very similar, except this time we are ordering from our vendor to restock our warehouse. So we will select our vendor from the drop down. If we have a reference number, we can enter that. And we have different methods. We have a blank order. We can do by days of inventory. We can list all items from the vendor. We can do replenishment by what we've sold. We can do it by days of inventory that we have left. And we can convert a customer order into a purchase order to send to the vendor. So just like in doing an order for our customers, we just select which type we're doing. So in this one, we're going to do a blank order from our vendor. Dates don't matter on this because it's going to be a blank order. I'm going to tell it to generate. I'll put in my part number, how many of that vendor part I want, and I'll add that. So as you can see, our vendor part, our item part, or item number, what it is, how many we've got on order, our cost each, and how many sellable units we have coming in. So this vendor part has 5 sellable units in it. All right. If we look on the right side, we have a details section. This tells us how many we currently have on hand of the item, if we have any on order, if we have any on reserved, meaning our customers have got orders placed and we're waiting to fill those orders. This tells us how many days of inventory we currently have left. This tells us how much of this item we have sold in the last year, last 365 days. That is actually editable. I can go in, click on it, and I can change to days to, say I want to know the last 30 days. And as you can see, that number changed. It shows our month-to-date sales, and then it does each month individually. So this is a good way of looking, say that we're in June, we can look at how much we've sold in June and how much we've sold in July. And if we see an uptick in sales, we may want to order, quite a few of this product so we don't run out if we have spikes in sales during, this time frame. Once I enter all my items, I'll go in and just close it. I'm going to tell it, yes, I want to save this order. And so now we have an open purchase order. We're just waiting for this product to come back from the vendor. Okay, the second type of order method we have is days of inventory. So with this one, I want to use my start and my stop date. So I'll go back to April 26th up until today's date. I'll tell it that I want to keep 30 days of inventory. So it'll look at this time frame, see how much I've sold, and it'll calculate how much I need to have on hand in order to keep 30 days worth of inventory so I don't sell out. this checkbox here, do not take into account open purchases. What this does, if I check this, it ignores if I have an open purchase with any items on it. So say for example, if my item 1 that I have on this purchase order, if I do not have this checked, it'll look, see what I need for that vendor part 1, see that I already have some on a purchase order, and so it'll deduct what's on the current purchase orders from my order. If I do not want it to do that, I'll just tell it to ignore those. So if it says I need 20 of an item, it's going to order 20 items, no matter how many I've already got on an open purchase. So I'll tell it to generate. And this does not show that I need anything. I'm going to tell it, yes, I want to delete that. Let's try 50 days, see if I have anything. Okay, it tells me that I need this item here. It tells me I need to order 15 of them. And I would do this the same way. Once I have everything completed here, I would just exit out and tell it that I want to save it. List all items from vendor is just that. It's going to create an order and have every single item from that vendor on there. And then you can manually go in and add how many you want of each item. Replenishment by item sold. Again, we have a start and a stop date. It's going to look from this time frame and see what we've sold. So if we've sold 10 of an item, we're going to order 10. As you see, days of inventory is grayed out. Again, I'm going to check to not take into consideration open purchases. I'll tell it to generate. As you can see, I have 3 items now. Another thing on these is if there was any on return, it would show up here, but of course we do not have any. We'll save this one as well. All right, days of inventory left is going to work basically just like days of inventory. And then we have the from customer order. Like I said, this would be from an open order that we tell it that we're going to convert that particular order number. We'd put in our order number and actually convert that into a purchase order to send to our vendor. Now, as far as sending orders to a vendor, depending on your vendor, you may fax it to them, you may email it to them. We do have the option to where if your vendor does EDI, we can get EDI set up, and we have a send EDI button, which would then electronically send the order to your vendor. We also have the option when we do an order to schedule the orders. So basically what we do, we tell it to schedule. We'll give it a name. We want to do it weekly or monthly. We'll do this one on a monthly basis. We want to run it on the first day of the month. We'll tell it to run at 4 a.m. It's going to be for vendor 1. It's going to be for replenishment. I'm going to tell it to basically look at 21 days worth of inventory to, actually since I'm running this monthly, let's run it for 31 days. All right, so I'll save it. I'll go ahead and close this box out. And if we go to our scheduled purchases, as you can see, here's a reorder. Monthly, first day of the month at 4 a.m. doing it by replenishment of items sold. So in order for scheduled purchases to run, we have to run what's called the FasTrax Warehouse Scheduled Tasks executable. That will go and look and see when the last time the order was ran. We have a last run column. So basically what this does, it looks to see when it's set to run, like these two are set for Monday. So when this runs on Monday, it would run and look and see when the last time ran was. If it's next week, it'll then see the last time ran was 7th, so it still needs to run, and then it'll run our order for us. In order to set that up, we would have to go into Control Panel. And we'd go to Systems and Security, Administrative Tools, and Schedule Task. So we have our task scheduler library. As you can see, I already have one set up. If one was not already set up, we would go to Create Task and generate it that way. But I will just go in and we'll look at the properties. So basically what we do is we give it a name, and then we tell it a trigger. So I would want this set up to run, say, daily, recur every 1 day. I can repeat the task. Of course, I can go in and actually change this by typing in, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever I'd want it to run for. Then my actions, what I want to do there is tell it I want to start a program. And in the FasTrax folder, we will have a warehouse scheduled task executable. So this is the task that we want to run. And so the Windows task will look for this every night when it's set to run and see if we have anything that needs to be done as far as orders or even scheduled reports to be sent out. Once that's done, we would just tell it okay to finish it. And again, when the time comes, it will run and do our orders for us automatically. All right, once we've sent the orders to our vendor and they send us the inventory back, we'd want to go in and receive our purchases. So we'd still go to our open purchases. We would select which purchase order that we are receiving. I can either open it here and go to receive, or I can just highlight it and I can click receive here. All right, so once we go to receive it, I want to put in my invoice number up at the top. I want to tell it that I'm receiving one. Now, if I need to collect tax on my purchases, there's a hyperlink for calculate taxes. And if you click on it, if I had the taxes set up to collect on this particular item, I would have an amount under taxes here. The same thing for if you get charged shipping from your vendor and you're taking that cost and adding that to your product. We have a shipping for calculation. I can change this to say $5. And once I tell it to recalculate my cost, my amount's changed over here. Once I've completed all my steps that I need to do here, I can come down to save and apply. It's going to ask me I want to save and apply the received quantity to inventory, so I'll tell it yes. Now that item has been added. And as you can see, my purchase order is no longer here. It's been moved over to closed purchases. An alternate way to receive in the items is if I go in, put in my invoice number, and instead of manually entering the items under the received quantity, I can come to the bottom to set received quantity to order quantity. Click on it. It's going to ask me if I want to set the received quantity to order quantity for all items. I'm going to tell it yes, and it updates my received quantity. Now, if your vendor allows back orders, and I say we do not receive all of our premium cigarettes here, instead of 31, we have 20. And they're going to put the other 11 on back order for us. So we'll change our received quantity to 20. We will save and apply the order. So now you notice that original PO is gone, but we still have a purchase order here. And if we look at our reference number now, it says back order from 25. So this tells us this was a back ordered purchase order. If we look at it, it is our premium cigarette, and we have an order quantity of 11 because that's what we did not receive from our original order. Alright, that pretty much concludes purchasing in warehouse. This webinar, as all the other ones, will be posted to the website, so you can view at a later date if you just need a refresher or anything. If you have any questions on purchasing, you can always call support, and one of our support analysts would be happy to assist you with any questions that you may would have. Thank you, and have a good day.